Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Sheikh Ahmed Arafat from the Mosque Foundation. Again, we're meeting for another memory ayah that we'll be talking about today. Before I start about the memory ayah, I'd like first to tell you a story. A few years ago, in one of the Ramadans, I was sitting with one of my friends, and suddenly we saw a man, a Muslim, breaking his fast during the daytime of Ramadan. He was eating something in his hand. So my friend got very angry and said, "Look at this man, how bad he is. He's not ashamed of this." I told him maybe he's sick and he has an excuse and he cannot fast. He said, "I don't believe that." But a few days later, we got to know this man. And then we found out that he told us actually that he was sick since uh, uh, 2 years before, and we realized that this is actually one of the excuses for breaking the fast. I looked at my friend and he recognized the mistake he did. So, what mistake did he do? True, he made a wrong assumption. He made a wrong assumption that this person is doing something wrong, and he did not ask him to accept for an explanation. So, what is this problem called? It is negative assumption. What is negative assumption? Is when you accuse somebody of doing something wrong without any proof. That's called a negative assumption. And this is something wrong that the Quran teaches us to stay away from. So we learn from this, instead of having negative assumptions about people, we can easily ask them for an explanation if something does not seem right. I also sometimes these negative assumptions could be very hurtful when you confront people with it. I heard about this story, a man with his teenager in the train, and in front of them was another man reading his newspaper. But this man reading the newspaper got really very mad at this teenager because this teenager was doing like crazy things, the man thought. Whenever this teenager sees anything outside, he would exclaim and say, "Look, Dad, this is a bird. Look, Dad, this is a drop of rain. Look, Dad, this is a tree. That's amazing. Look, Dad, this looks green." And the other man reading the newsletter thought that this is literally crazy and this man is not disciplined and he doesn't care about how people feel. And he said, "You need to stop and be quiet." And he asked his dad to discipline him more and let him stay quiet because he's interrupting him and he could not read. So, but he was surprised when the dad gave the explanation. He said, "This child was born blind, and we were in hospital and we stayed there for days, for weeks, and today is the first time for him to see. That's why he's surprised to see everything around him." So the man, of course, felt sorry for his assumptions and made a promise not to do that again. So be slow in accusing people because they may have an excuse and because you may be the one to be blamed. And this leads me to my favorite part of this class, which is the ayah that we'll memorize. When you feel tempted to make an assumption, there is one ayah that would hold these thoughts back. And this is the whole idea, as we keep repeating, this is the whole idea of these ayat. This is our memory ayah. So what is our memory ayah? It says in Arabic, inna. It's a long ayah, but I just picked that part that we want to memorize. Inna ba'da الظن إثم. And that means, indeed, some negative assumptions are sinful, are bad to do, are not allowed to do. I write it also in English, so it means, indeed, some negative assumptions are sinful. And that is enough for us to stay away from making judgments without verifying what we're saying. And instead of just assuming and instead of just making judgments, you can think well of them, or you can simply ask them for an explanation. But I'd like to read this one more time with the translation so that you can memorize it. So, inna بعض الظن إثم. Again, إن بعض الظن إثم. Indeed, some negative assumptions are sinful, and we need to practice this. Sometimes the parents may fall into this problem and assume things about the kids, and sometimes the kids would assume also about each other that someone did break their toy and they accuse him and it is someone else, or it was done by accident by something else. So make sure that you avoid this bad habit and develop always positive thoughts, and make sure you ask. إن بعض الظن إثم. So indeed, some negative assumptions are sinful. And this takes me to another point, and we'll finish the class with these points, inshallah. So the question is, why do we need to care about how we think of others? Why should we avoid these negative thoughts? So this is in Arabic called su'ul dhan. So why avoid su'ul dhan? This is, again, remember last time we learned the word birrul walidain. So that concept is important. So this is another concept. So if birrul walidain is something you should do, su'u dhan is something you have to avoid. So su'u dhan. So what is su'u dhan? Again, it is the negative assumptions, the bad assumptions about people, meaning without any proofs. So why should we avoid the bad assumptions? Why avoid the bad assumptions? So can you guys guess? Why should we avoid the bad assumptions? Number one, I would say because no one knows the inner intentions except Allah. So Allah is the one who knows the inner intentions. Allah alone knows our inner intentions. So maybe you called somebody and he did not answer, and there could be million of reasons why he did not answer. So why are you just picking on the bad assumptions, on the bad options, on the bad explanations? Why don't you assume that this man, the battery is dead, this man lost his phone, this man could be in need of your help, and you're actually blaming him? They say in Arabic, لعل له عذرا وأنت تلومه. Maybe he has an excuse and still you're blaming him, and you're the one to be blamed. So Allah alone is the one who knows our inner intentions. Number two, I would avoid su'ul dhan. Why? Because as a Muslim, I wish that these negative assumptions will not be proved to be true. Okay? So I would wish, because I have the desire, so I wish that the negative assumptions are not true. Are not true. It does not mean that you would become a naive person, but again, you wait for an explanation and you wait for a proof before you accuse people. So do not be quick to judge. Do not be quick to pass judgments on people, but rather you should slow down in your judgments. So, number one, Allah is the one who knows our inner intentions. That's why we're not quick to judge, we're not quick to assume. And I wish that these negative assumptions are not true. And number three, it could be these assumptions could be because of the whisperings of the shaitan, right? These assumptions could be because of the whisperings of the shaitan. So these assumptions could be part of the whisperings of the shaitan. And you should not be listening to these negative voice that you hear. Number four, and this is to me one of the most important points, Imam al-Ghazali, I talked to you about this gentleman before. So this man said, the bad assumptions could actually tell us a lot about the wrong things a person could be doing. Your negative assumptions could be a result of many bad things you may have. Like what? Maybe your bad assumptions are a result of your bad intentions. See here, you're the one to be blamed. Maybe you have a bad intention, that's why you assume negatively. And he said the bad assumption, su'ud dhan, could be also a result of your bad opinion. Your bad opinion. So again, here you're the one to be blamed, and you think you have the right to blame others. He said the bad assumption could be because of some hatred you have against somebody, and again, it is your problem and you need to fix it, and the other person is innocent. And he said the bad assumption, his fourth reason, he said the bad assumption could be because of your bad behavior. And you think that people behave in the same way as you do, as badly as you do. So again, for next time, make sure when you develop these negative thoughts about people that you hold it back. Remember when we talked about holding back bad words? So now we'll be holding back these bad thoughts and we wait for an explanation. We wait because this person would be excused, and we wait because this could be these bad assumptions could be signs that we have bad things that we need to solve, like bad intentions, bad opinions, like hatred, bad behavior, and we think that people behave as badly as we do. So I hope you guys like this class. And again, what is the ayah? The ayah we talked about is Inna ba'da dhanni ithm. Indeed, some negative assumptions are sinful. Sinful means things you cannot do. It's haram to do. And what is the concept? What is the idea? And the phrase we studied today, it's called su'ud dhan. This is something you have to avoid. And practicing this, just avoid su'ud dhan because of the four reasons we did. And I'll keep it as short as that. And we all love you. وجزاكم الله خيرا أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.